Никто меня не слышит? Ага, отлично. Спасибо, Люси. Здравствуйте, Айви. Дженнифер. Отлично. Супер. Здорово. Отлично. Хорошо. Мы можем начинать. I think we can start. Меня зовут Алина. Я методист школы русского языка Златоуст. My name is Alina. I'm an education coordinator of Zlatoust Russian Language School. We are located in St. Petersburg, and usually we run offline courses. People come to us for a week, from a week up to 3 months, to study Russian in a very intensive way. They live in Russian families, they have a cultural program, but right now, because of the virus, we went online. So since April, we teach both group and individuals online. And if you guys are interested, you can always contact us. And it's a good opportunity because participants of the webinar will get a discount, 10%. So давайте начинать. Let's start. Today we've got a very interesting topic to talk about. It's 10 most typical mistakes that Russian learners make when they speak Russian. So some of these mistakes are made because people confuse similar Russian words together. Some of these mistakes are made because people are translating from their own language into Russian. And in most situations, it doesn't work. Well, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So that's why there are mistakes. So we're going to see them. Not all of the most typical mistakes, of course, but I've picked some I hear a lot. Okay. And before we start, I will ask you to keep your microphone off. I can hear someone right now, so I'm turning off everyone's sounds. Okay. So if you've got a question during the lecture, just send a text in the chat box. You can find it. It will be either on your bottom of the screen or on top. So please feel free to text, and I will take time to have a look at your messages and answer your questions. And after the lecture part, after I'm done talking about the 10 mistakes, you will be able to ask me questions about grammar, vocabulary. So you can think of questions you've got and prepare them. Now I can hear somebody else. Just a moment, I'm turning off microphones. Yes. Yeah, now it's good. Okay, so our number one, номер один, тоже и еще. So these words, if you translate them into English, both can be translated as also. And the first word people learn is тоже. Usually, even at the first lesson, when you learn how to greet people, there is a dialogue, приятно познакомиться, or очень приятно, nice to meet you. And you can answer with мне тоже, me too. So тоже is the first word people learn, and they try to use it every time they would say also in English. But there is another word in Russian, еще, which we use quite often. And they are not like complete synonyms. So let's see some sentences, and I want you to write down in the chat box your variant. Which word do you think we should use in this sentence? Тоже or еще? If you don't have a Russian keyboard, you can just put number 1 if it's тоже, or number 2 if it's еще. So the sentence is: Вчера я смотрел телевизор, гулял и читал книгу. Yesterday I watched the TV, I had a walk, and also I read a book. Okay, что вы думаете? What do you think? Okay, most of you put number 2. Some of them put number 1, тоже. It must be еще. We will see all of the examples, and I will explain why, or maybe you will understand yourself from the context. So the second sentence, второе предложение. Вчера мой друг смотрел телевизор. И я вчера смотрел телевизор. So yesterday my friend watched TV, and me too. And I also watched TV. Я смотрю чат. Тоже. Отлично. Все пишут номер 1. Супер. Да, тоже. The correct variant is тоже. Очень хорошо. Я говорю по-английски, и ты говоришь по-английски. I speak English, and you speak English too. Тоже. Отлично. Вы все пишете тоже. Это правильно. Тоже. Отлично. And the last sentence. Я говорю по-английски и по-немецки. So I speak English and also I speak German. And this kind of context, which one? Okay, еще. Perfect. So I think you might already understand the rule. So if you talk about yourself, or if you talk about one person, and you are given a list of something somebody does or somebody has, doesn't matter. But the most important is that we talk about one person. You use еще. Еще can be translated as more, moreover, in addition, plus to that. Okay? So it's a very good word to remember and to use. For example, if you are in a restaurant in Russia and you had coffee and you want one more, you would ask, можно еще кофе? Can I have more coffee? One more coffee. Тоже we use to compare two people or two things. So somebody has something or somebody does something, and there is somebody else who does it too. In this situation, we would use тоже. Okay? I hope you understand. And we can go to the next one, номер 2. And here is a very interesting and very useful phrase you all use a lot, and me too. So for example, if somebody asks you, have you been to Russia? And you can say, not yet. How do you say not yet in Russian? Can you write it down, please? Напишите, пожалуйста, в чате, как по-русски not yet. Так, хорошо. Есть 4 ответа, 4 answers. 5, хорошо, отлично. Уже нет. Уже нет is something different. It means that you have been doing it before and not anymore. So it's like not anymore in English. That would be уже нет. And not yet is еще нет. Молодцы! Вы все правильно написали. Еще нет. I've just told you that еще means more, moreover, in addition, plus to that. But there is another meaning. It's still. Like still, no. Еще нет. Okay? Хорошо, отлично. Например, for example, ты уже хорошо говоришь по-русски? Еще нет. Not yet. Ты уже был в России? Have you been to Russia? Еще нет. Not yet. Okay. This is just for you to remember. You see, the mistake comes because people translate it literally. They translate not to Russian and yet. And it's a little bit different. So some people say не еще, right? And that's wrong. So еще нет, just a phrase for you to memorize. Okay, another one. Следующий, номер 3. Нормально и обычно. So in English, you can say normally I do this, meaning that you do it regularly. You do it often, usually. So people take this word and this construction, normally I go to work at 8 o'clock. And they translate this word into Russian as нормально and use it the same way. But in Russian, нормально doesn't function this way. It cannot be used as a synonym to обычно. So if you want to say, normally I get up at 8, you cannot use нормально in this kind of sentence. You must use обычно. Обычно я встаю в 8 часов. So when can you use нормально? Нормально is very close to, very similar to English okay. Как дела? Нормально. Как? Хорошо. В порядке. Нормально. Or when you say that something is okay for you. So, for example, ты всегда встаешь так рано? Do you always get up so early? Да, для меня это нормально. So it's normal for me. It's okay for me. Okay? So don't use нормально when you talk about regular activities. Use обычно. Номер 4. This is like a very classic topic to talk in class about. These 3 verbs, изучать, учить, учиться, which can be translated as to study, to learn, and we use them a bit differently. Let's see. Давайте посмотрим. What will we put here? Which verb do you think we can put here? Я в университете. I study at university. Изучать, учить, or учиться? Хорошо. Okay, so people are not sure. Some people are thinking of изучать, some учить, but most of you have picked учиться, and that's correct. Это правильно. Я учусь в университете. Учиться literally means teach myself or teach yourself. This ся ending means себя, myself, yourself. So it cannot be followed by an object in accusative case. So you can never say я учусь русский язык. That's like another typical mistake. You use учиться when you talk about places where you learn or study. Я учусь в университете. Я учусь в школе. Next one. Следующее. Я математику. I study, I learn mathematics, maths. Какой вариант вы думаете? Хорошо. Хорошо. Правильный вариант изучаю. Учу is possible, but not so often used and not so correct. Изучать means to study, to research. Usually we изучаем, we study something at university as our major, and we study in depth. We read books, we write papers, we analyze, we think. That's изучать. Okay, so математику is better изучать. You need to think about mathematics, right? So you need to analyze, изучать математику. Okay. What about новые слова, new words? Which verb? Какой глагол? Новые слова. Okay. Хорошо, молодцы. Most of you have picked учу. And that's correct. Because учить means to learn to memorize. It has nothing to do to analyzing, like thinking too much. You just remember stuff, remember things. Like новые слова, new words, you don't need to think about them too much. You just need to remember them, right? So you use учить. Учить новые слова, учить стихи, like to learn poems by heart. Учить правила, to learn the rules, как грамматику, правила, да? Это учить. Хорошо. Я водить машину. So I'm learning how to drive a car. I'm learning to drive. Какой глагол, вы думаете, можно использовать здесь? Если у вас глагол, if you've got a verb, infinitive. Okay. So учусь. With a verb, if you're learning how to do something, it's учусь. Not учу, not изучаю. These are not possible. You cannot say я учу водить. You cannot say я изучаю водить. Okay, only учусь. So учусь plus a verb infinitive. Я учусь плавать. I'm learning how to swim. Я учусь кататься на велосипеде. I'm learning how to ride a bicycle. Я учусь готовить. I'm learning how to cook something. There was somebody's question here. Just a moment. I'm right now at the moment the teacher. L.O. Kaiser, I do not understand your question. Number 2, учить can I use if I'm right now in the moment the teacher? Yes, учить can mean to teach. Yes, it has two meanings, to learn, to memorize, or to teach, but the grammar will be different. So after учить as to learn, we use accusative case. We say учить новые слова, учить грамматику. But if you say to teach, it will be dative case. Учить чему? So I can say I'm teaching you right now the Russian language. Я учу русскому языку. Я учу вас, you, русскому языку. So the grammar is different. But yes, it can mean to teach as well. But right now we are focusing on learning and studying. So next one. Я не работаю. So I don't work, I study, I'm a student. Which one? Какой глагол? Хорошо. Отлично. So учусь can be used when we talk about our, like, okay, what we do. We do not work, we study, we are students. In this case, you can say я учусь, я не работаю, я студент. There was a question, somebody asked me to repeat why we cannot use учу plus a verb. Well, if it's the meaning of to teach, I teach somebody to drive, then yes, я учу сына водить машину. I'm teaching my son to drive. But right now, if we focus about learn and teach, learn and study, you cannot use я учу in the meaning of learn with a verb. It's just a rule. You cannot use verbs with учить or изучать. You can only use nouns. Okay, so it's just like a rule you need to remember. Хорошо. And our last sentence is я русский язык. What do you usually say? How do you say I study Russian? I learn Russian. Okay. Everyone says изучаю. So you all study Russian in depth, very seriously. You analyze the rules, you write papers in Russian. You study the system of the language. Possible, of course, possible. But another possible way is also учу. So the difference is, yeah, изучаю русский, it's like more academic wise. It's probably when you study Russian at university, like very seriously and in depth. Учу is not so serious. You just memorize new words, learn vocabulary, grammar rules. So you can use both, depending on how seriously you learn Russian. Хорошо, отлично. I hope now you know the difference and you just need to remember context. The best way not to make mistakes is to remember these sentences. The webinar will be taped and you will be able to see it on YouTube. So just copy the sentences and just learn them, memorize them. And it will be like chunks for you. So every time you need to use one of these verbs, remember of the sentences and think about the logic, okay? And just put the right verb there. Хорошо, отлично. Есть вопросы. Are there any questions? Let me check. Интересный вопрос. От Деврима. Учусь русскому языку. Yes, it's possible. So literally, I'm teaching myself Russian language. So you're using dative case the same way as you use when you talk about teaching. So what I told you, I teach you Russian, я учу вас русскому языку. So you can say, I teach myself Russian language. So you can use dative case there, but it's a more complicated grammar. If you want, you can use it. But in order not to confuse things, probably if you're still not sure about these verbs, so probably just stick to normal accusative case. Okay, я учу, я изучаю русский язык. Хорошо, отлично. Номер 5. In English, you can say to play sports. Can you say it in Russian? Can you use играть to play plus the word sports? Sport. Нет, конечно нет. I would not put it here if it was possible. So you cannot say to play sports in Russian. You cannot say играть спорт, играть в спорт. Нельзя. Нет. If you want to use sport, this word, you must use the verb заниматься. Заниматься is a very interesting, very useful verb in Russian, which literally means to keep yourself busy with something, to be occupied with something. So again, there is ся, which shows yourself, myself, and занимать is to make somebody busy, to occupy somebody with something, okay? So it often can be used as a synonym to делать, to do. So if I'm calling my friend and ask, like, what are you doing right now? I can ask, что ты делаешь сейчас? Or I can ask, чем ты сейчас занимаешься? You hear the difference between the questions. Что ты делаешь? Чем ты занимаешься? Чем is instrumental of что, is another case of что, because заниматься must be followed by instrumental. So a question represents like the answer. So it must be the same case as the answer. So заниматься спортом, that's instrumental. But if you talk about games, like sport games, like basketball, football, hockey, you should use the verb играть. And you have to say играть в. So in Russian, we say to play in something. So to play in and then some game. Not only sports game, it can be any game like a card game or board game. Okay? So играть в football, играть в basketball, играть в tennis. Accusative case. So the rule is not to put together играть and sport as you do it in English. Let me check if there are any questions. Заниматься спортом. Заниматься plus instrumental. Я играю в шахматы. That's correct. Хорошо. So заниматься can be a synonym to делать, but we do not always use it as synonyms. So in some phrases, for example, if I ask you, well, in English, yes, if I ask you, what do you do for a living? Like, what's your occupation? What's your profession? In Russian, you cannot use делать in this context. If you ask somebody, что ты делаешь, it will always mean, what are you doing at the moment, right now? Usually probably in a negative meaning, like, what are you doing? Что ты делаешь? But if you ask a person, what do you do for a living? Use заниматься. Чем вы занимаетесь? So if it's just a question with no context, probably, like the most probably, person is asking about your job, your profession, okay? But заниматься can also mean to learn. It's one more, but probably not to learn, but to be busy with studying. So that will be заниматься. For example, например, I can't go to the movies today, I need to study. So I need to do my homework, I need to be busy with my studying.
Вы слышите сейчас? Напишите, пожалуйста, если слышите. Да. Извините, мои наушники, my earphones died. Да, отлично, хорошо. Все, супер. Идем дальше. Номер 6. Мы любим эту фразу. Everyone loves this phrase. People say it a lot. It's a big problem. How do you say that in Russian? Can you write the sentence, please? Напишите, пожалуйста, это предложение. Угу. Майкл, молодец. Деврим сделал типичную ошибку. И Ринальди тоже. И Майкл тоже. Типичная ошибка – это говорить по-русски «проблема», потому что по-русски это проблема, это она. Не забывайте, don't forget it. So you must say это большая проблема. The same as words system, система, form, форма, norm, норма. But can you guys guess how to say diploma in Russian? So it's not diploma, это диплом. Молодцы. So very confusing. Just need to memorize that in Russian problem это проблема. Это большая проблема. Хорошо, идем дальше. Номер 7. Another favorite phrase of almost every person, we like to say it depends. And in English, you can just stop after it. You can just say, well, it depends. That's it. It's not possible to stop in Russian. You must continue. Это зависит от, and then you must say it depends on what. Это зависит от человека. Depends on a person. Это зависит от ситуации. Depends on a situation. Зависит от страны. Depends on a country. Зависит от дня недели. Depends on the day of the week. So the most important thing is you never can say это зависит and then say nothing. You always need to continue. Зависит от and then genitive case. Okay, and be careful. In English, it depends on. In Russian, it depends from something. So it's от. Okay. I think I can see a few questions. Зависит от чего? От plus genitive. Yes, that's correct. Хорошо. Номер 8. In English, we say I work as. I work as a teacher. I work as an engineer. What do we do in Russian? Do we use as, like Russian как, in this sentence? Or no? What do you think? Что вы думаете? Так, хорошо. Молодцы. Занимаюсь учителем? Нет. Нет, 100% нет. Работаю как преподаватель? Нет. Я работаю плюс instrumental case. So nothing else. You just say I work and then you put profession, occupation in instrumental case. Я работаю учителем. Я работаю инженером. Я работаю журналистом, преподавателем. Okay, so instrumental case. No need to use как in this sentence. Yannick wrote, я работаю ученицей. Ученица is a student. So it's a person who is learning something. So you cannot work as somebody who's learning something. So учительница, yes. Я работаю учительницей, да. So if you want to put a feminine form there, yes. Хорошо. Номер 9. I hear this phrase a lot when I was a boy, a girl, and people are trying to use мальчик or девочка in this sentence and say когда я был мальчиком. It's very funny in Russian because мальчик or девочка, of course, these are like children, like little boy and little girl. But also we use мальчик and девочка to define like a gender, sex of a person. So if you're using past tense, you mean that you've changed your sex. So you're not a boy anymore or a girl anymore. So it's not the way we say it in Russian. We usually would just use the adjective small, little, when I was little. Когда я был маленьким, or когда я была маленькой for a woman. Okay, we're using instrumental case here for the adjective маленький, маленькая, because after verb быть, you must use instrumental case. Okay, so когда я был маленьким, that's a man would say, and когда я была маленькая, that's for a woman. There is another phrase, в детстве, в детстве, in childhood. So you can use any of these. But please do not say когда я был мальчиком or когда я была девочкой. Когда я был ребенком, possible. So when I was a child, ребенок is a child, baby. Когда я был ребенком. Можно, possible. Да, хорошо. Хорошо, отлично. And the last one. Самая последняя ошибка. And it's a very difficult topic. The preposition for in Russian has so many equivalents and translations. Sometimes it can mean для, sometimes за, sometimes на, and sometimes there's nothing. So I was in Russia for 1 month. How would you say that in Russian? Как вы это скажете по-русски? Напишите, пожалуйста. So I was in Russia for 1 month. Typical mistake. За нет. На нет. Для нет. You don't need anything, guys. You don't need to say anything. When you describe a period of time, a duration of an action, you do not need anything. You just put the time. Я был в России 1 месяц. Все, that's it. Я живу в Петербурге уже 3 года. So I've been living in St. Petersburg for 3 years. Okay? No need to put anything in Russian. Я живу 3 года. Все. Я изучаю русский 5 лет. I've been learning Russian for 5 years. Я работаю в этой компании только 1 месяц. I've been working for this company just 1 month. Okay? So when you describe a duration, like a period of time while you've been doing something, you use nothing, no prepositions. You just say how long. 1 месяц, 1 год. So no для, no за, no на. Хорошо? Вопросы? Any questions? Let me check. Дженнифер пишет, это большая проблема для меня. Дженнифер, молодец, что ты пишешь проблема. Good job writing проблема and not проблем. Супер, молодец. Yes, it's a big problem. Для, за, and на, it's a big topic to discuss. Well, if you want, I can briefly explain you the difference. So, для is like the first translation from for in English. It will be для in Russian. So, for example, I bought this, I bought this book for you. So I did something, but it's not me who will receive the result. It's somebody else. So in this kind of situation, you would use для. It's very similar to Russian dative case. So I can say я купила книгу тебе or я купила книгу для тебя. Very similar. Okay, за we use in specific phrases. For example, to thank somebody for something. When you say thank you for, we say спасибо за. Thank you for the present. Спасибо за подарок. Thank you for help. Спасибо за помощь. Okay. And when we say to pay for something, you would say платить за, and then what? Я плачу за квартиру. I pay for my apartment. So you can think of за as an idea of exchange. So like with paying, you give money and you receive something else. So it's like something like when you exchange things, you can use за, okay? Or you can just memorize to pay for, платить за, спасибо за, okay? На, we use на, for example, in such sentences like, I invite you for coffee, or we met for dinner. So you would put на there. Я приглашаю тебя на кофе. So I invite you for a coffee. Я приглашаю тебя на кофе. Okay? Хорошо.